How I price my pooper scooper services, real numbers. My name is Erica Crouppen, and I'm the owner of Crouppen's Poop and Scoopin'. I have a dog waste removal business located here in Michigan, and I've been in business for a little under 7 years. I roughly do $250,000 per year in revenue with myself and one other scooper. I want to show you my real numbers for 2025, how I'm pricing my services. My dog is losing her mind right now because the mailman's walking by. This is real life, you guys. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, stay tuned. Here's a little bit of real talk before we hop into the actual pricing, because the pricing part is going to go by pretty quick, because I've made my pricing much more simple because I was just struggling in general. I made things more complicated than it should. Was overthinking things essentially. I have been on both sides of the spectrum with pricing too low and then also pricing too high. Maybe it wasn't able to deliver the value that was needed, or to show the customer the value that was needed to get those higher prices. Because I will never say that you can't get higher prices for your service, but if you know how to sell yourself, you know how to position yourself, and you know how to deliver, you can get those higher prices. So it just depends on you, it depends on your business, it depends on your staff and how you're able to deliver. Having said that, when I first started the business, I didn't know how to charge, I didn't know how to price things. I did flat rate pricing, but the flat rate pricing was too low for where I wanted to grow. I started with a 2007 Chevy Cobalt. I had magnets. I wasn't able to pay my staff a lot. I was paying myself quite well, but I was paying myself more than I should have at that time. That was another lesson I learned, is I should have reinvested more money back into the business, but that's not the video for this. We're going to talk about actual pricing. I want to talk about how my pricing was done before and how I've changed it now and why. Before, when I first started, I had the flat rate method. It was $55 per month. Then I decided I wanted to start doing more of a tier based upon number of dogs, size of yard, and frequency. In theory, it worked. Not even in theory, it did work, but it was okay. You have one dog, you have a medium size yard. You want me to come out one time a week. Let me look at my sheet really quick to see what my pricing is. I couldn't remember what my pricing was off the top of my head this past year. Before I had switched all of that, I think I was charging, it was $14 for one dog, $15 for two, $16 for three, $17 for four. It just went up $1 because it was easy, it was simple. I decided I needed to raise my rates because that wasn't enough money. So if I'm charging $15 a week, essentially I'm making $60 a month. I think that $60 a month per dog. So let's say, for instance, if we're doing $60 a month, times that out by 125 houses or 150 houses, because that's the average of what you can do, what one technician can do per week. If your average ticket price is $60 a month and you're doing 125 houses, you're going to be generating like 700 or 7,500. And if we times that out by 12, you're bringing in about $90,000 a year. If you're a solo scooper and you want to keep things very minimal, bringing in $90,000 a year is great. That is great money. That's more than most of us are making at our jobs. I know that was more than what I was making at my job. But at that price point, when you're bringing in $90,000 a year, that's not coming into your bank account. That's not what you're profiting, right? So if you're running at like a 40% profit, a 30% profit, you'd have to go in and do the numbers, because you have to pay for insurance. You're going to have to pay for some type of marketing material, advertising, like how'd you get those customers? How are you going to organize the customers? Do you have a CRM, which is a customer relations management software, which I use Jobber. I love Jobber. If you guys don't know or haven't used Jobber, go ahead and click my link down in the description to get your 14-day free trial. You have to take all of this stuff into consideration and your taxes. So having a lower price point like that is okay. I'm not going to say that it's great. I'm going to say it's okay. Now, if you have multiple scoopers out and you have tight route density and you're averaging 150 houses per week and your technicians are killing it because the yards are small, it still might work, but you can charge more money. And I do feel like you should charge more money. Those prices I feel like they're a little bit outdated. But then the other part of me is like, I hate saying that because I know a very large company that has prices kind of similar like that, and they're doing quite well. But they're in a different market, they're in a different area. So I can't speak to that because I'm just over here in Michigan. My market's different. Our cost of living is different than other areas. Our housing market is different. Our yard sizes are much different. When I hear people say they're in and out of a yard in 3 minutes, I can't relate. Like I can't relate to that. That's crazy to me. And before I give you my prices, I want to tell you something right now. If you're starting this business and you're starting to get the itch and you're like, I need to have an office, I want to hire people, I want to get an office, I'm going to tell you, really think about it because that's going to cut into your overhead and your prices need to be higher. That's a mistake I made last year. And the reason why I say it's a mistake is because I could have taken that money and I could have put it on advertising and I didn't. And am I kicking myself in my butt? Yeah, kind of. I kind of am, but I learned from that experience. So if you can keep your overhead lower, your prices can be a little bit lower and there's some more wiggle room. Now, what I have done, because I got rid of a lot of overhead, I no longer have the office that I was at, so that cut a ton of overhead. I'm moving into a more modest type office. I brought the podcast studio back home, so I'm not having to pay for that. And I used to have a virtual assistant that was taking care of a lot of my admin stuff. I have decided that I'm taking that back and I'm going to do that myself. And that is freeing up a lot of money in my business between those two things. And because of that, I needed to simplify my pricing. I didn't like it that when I was out scooping, somebody would ask me what my prices were. And I'm like, I don't know, let me look at my sheet. So here are my actual flat rate prices because I decided to flat rate because there's not a huge difference between 2 and 3 dogs. There's not a huge difference between 3 and 4 dogs when we're back there scooping. It only adds a couple more minutes for us, to be quite honest, from what I have realized. Now, I do kind of play with the prices a little bit. If it is really a smaller yard and like a very small dog, I will knock $10 or $20 off of the standard price to accommodate for that. But this is helping me standardize my pricing, making it more simple for me to know my pricing. And it's stopping the headache of when a person gets a dog, they don't tell me that they got a new dog. And then I'm having to be like, you're a liar, you didn't update me. Or when a dog passes away or a dog leaves, they're wanting me to adjust their rate down. That's just causing more work for me behind the scenes. And the more work, the more money, the more time wasted. So here are my actual prices for 2025 flat rate. And I want to put a disclaimer. And at any given time, this will change if I don't like the way that it's working. If I decide by the end of the year and I sit down with Cycle CPA and we go through my books and they're like, whoa, we don't like this, I'll change it. I don't care. A small yard pricing. A small yard for me is 1/8 of an acre or less. Okay. 1 to 4 dogs every other week is going to be $100 a month because we do flat rate pricing. Weekly is $120 per month. Twice a week is $200 a month. 3 times a week is $260 per month. My medium size yard pricing, this is going to be 1/4 of an acre. Every other week is $170 per month. Weekly is $200 per month. Twice a week is $260 per month, and 3 times a week is $320 per month. And that is my pricing for 2025. I have played with this a little bit. I have sent prices out throughout Spring Rush at different price points. And what I was realizing is at this price point, I was getting the most approvals. Now, when will I discount it? When will I drop the rate down? For that weekly for a small yard. If a person really does have a much smaller yard, dogs on a lead, we're just doing a little area, one little tiny dog, I will drop that 120 down to either 110 or 100. I have no problem doing that. I don't want to go any lower than $100 per subscription, not only for my overhead, but for what I want to pay my staff, what I want to pay myself, and what I want to reinvest back into the business. So that's where I need to be. If I get a customer that wants a discount, either it's a senior citizen discount or I give a military discount or a referral discount, I'm still able to be above that $100 price point per subscription. And that's where I really want to be for those small yards. Another thing that I noticed I was having a really hard time with was those initial cleans, because a lot more people are coming into the industry and you guys are giving away the free cleans. Ugh, irritated with it. But I get it. I get the hustle. I get you got to do what you got to do, but ugh, so frustrating. So what I did was, for anybody that wanted to sign up for recurring service, their initial clean or spring clean was going to be $150 or 120 to 150. I discounted it to $79.99 and I paired that with a subscription. So the only way they were going to get a discount from me is if they wanted to sign up for recurring service. Now, I had some of my cleans like much higher. They're like 180, 200, 210. And for the main hub, the main areas that I service, it was just too high for people's pocketbooks. It was too high for the amount of competition that I have. And it was too high for the people that they've seen other companies out there offering free services, free initial cleans. And the thing about business is not sometimes, you have to adjust and you have to pivot and you have to have the conversations and you have to provide the value, show the value so the customer understands what goes on. So I had to, throw my BD pooper scooper rake around and be like, yeah, well, do they got over 400 something Google reviews? Nope. The struggle out here this spring rush. But I do hope that those of you that are watching this that are new in business, I hope that if you gave the free services away, you were able to get those Google reviews, you were able to gain the experience. So next year, when you go into your spring rush, you are able to charge what you are worth. You are able to charge what you are worth and keep it moving. But every year this happens. So I know it's like controversial within the industry. It is what it is. But that $79.99 price point seemed like to be a sweet spot to where the customer felt like it was fair. They were excited to move on with reoccurring service. I was able to give that discounted rate to acquire them as a reoccurring customer, and both parties are happy. Now, have I ran into certain situations where I'm like, ooh, I messed up my pricing? Yes, I have. There was one in particular where we completely underpriced the job in its entirety. We did half of the job and we're not going back. We're not even doing that. I'm not even collecting the money for it. I don't care. I'm not going back. I believe they are a breeder. Their yard was filthy, absolutely filthy. And I probably should report them. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. It's a lot of pressure. And I feel really bad for whatever is going on over there with those dogs. I want to briefly touch on like the pricing per minute and per bucket. Pricing per minute, when it comes to like those one-time cleans, some scoopers are going to be faster, some scoopers are going to be slower. There is, there's a lot of variables there. And like I said, I'm going back to what my focus is just to make it as easy, as streamlined as possible, especially with me being back in the office. I just want it to be easy and very straightforward. So having the flat rate is good. As for the bucket, same thing. I don't want the variables. I don't want any of that. I just want it to be streamlined. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just personal preference. Now, some people ask, do you charge more in different areas? Like, do you do a surcharge? I do. And it's not one of those like, oh, I know this is a higher end area, I know I can get more money out of them. That's not the case. It just so happens the higher end areas are further away from me. So I added travel charge. Like if I'm driving to those further locations, I'm going to charge them more money because I don't live in a super high end area. I live where my ideal customer lives because I am my ideal customer. I got kids, I got a husband, I got a dog, I'm busy, my husband's busy. He doesn't even cut our grass. We got a landscaper that takes care of our grass. And my aunt cleans my house on Fridays because we're busy. And my husband and I, sometimes we don't want to do that stuff. And I don't want to have the kids do it either. I mean, I do have the kids do that kind of stuff, but I'd much rather just sit on the couch and just pass out with my husband, just saw logs instead of being like, are you going to go out there and go take care of the yard? No, it's already been taken care of. Now we can just sit there and stare at each other, drool on each other while we're snoring. And while the dog's laying next to us snoring as well. It's all about priorities. It's all really, what do you want in life? What do you want out of this life? What do you want out of your business? That's going to determine the decisions that you make in your business. And if you don't know what you want, you better figure it out. Sorry if that was a little bit aggressive. This coffee is really kicking in. And I know some of you guys don't know what you want. You don't know what to do. You're new in business. You're just trying to get it figured out. I got a couple tips for you. Tip 1, do some research in your local areas. But here's some etiquette. For the love of God, please do not waste other business owners and pooper scoopers' time. And I'm gonna give you a real life example. I tried to use Responsibid. Responsibid is an auto quoting software and it has a follow-up system and sequence. Our good friend John Noonan with Region Scoopers, he loves him some Responsibid. This was my 4th time trying it and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. But I really did. I really put the effort in. We built it out. I had several conversations with Cindy and we thought we were good to go. And then we were not good to go. And you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because y'all were putting in bogus requests. Not 1, not 2, but like 16. Really? Like 16 per person to get every single different pricing. And that's when I say that my pricing was complicated and difficult. There were like 16 different pricing metrics to figure out the different pricing structures. It was quite complicated. But I would log into Responsibid or my VAs would log into Responsibid and we'd be like, oh my goodness, we had 45 inquiries, like 45 leads, only to find out that a few people were coming in and they were just submitting bogus requests with bogus email addresses and bogus phone numbers and bogus addresses. And so now my drip sequence, I'm getting kickback emails. So now my inbox is getting completely filled up. Like it was really frustrating. So not only, if you're watching this and you did this, not only did you cause me a lot of stress, not only did you cost me a lot of time, you cost me a lot of money because I had to pay the VA staff to go through all of that and take care of it. And you cost me a lot of money. It really it stressed me out to the point to where I canceled with Responsibid because I was like, this just isn't going to work for me. And I take responsibility. I'm going to own it. I will take responsibility because I put myself on the internet and I'm like an industry leader. I did this to myself by getting this microphone and putting myself on camera, but it made it very difficult for me to run my business when it came to trying to use that. And I've also been getting phone calls from some of you that are price shopping my prices and you ask me questions and then you hurry up and hang up on me when I give you a price. Like, I know that you're just trying to figure out what the prices are. Like, I know you're lying to me. I can tell you're lying. And mainly because you have an accent. And I know you're not from here. You're not native to Michigan. So if you're watching this and you feel like I'm getting an attitude with you, I kind of am because I'm really frustrated. So I say all that to say that I'm a real life business owner, you guys. I have a business. Please don't waste our times. And please don't do that to other scoopers because be mindful that they're running a business as well and time is money and they're just trying to figure it out, okay? They're just trying to figure it out as well. You can do a search on their website. You can do a search on their Facebook page. A lot of times, if you just Google it, it'll tell you the prices of the business. Like AI has gotten so good, Google search has gotten so good that a lot of times you can find the average ticket price in your area without necessarily bothering or inconveniencing the actual business. Like that sucks. My final takeaway from this is keep your overhead low. Figure out what it is that you want for your business. What is very important to you? Do you want to be a solo scooper? Do you want to hire staff? How much money do you want to make? And that is what is going to really guide you and gear you into your pricing. And if you really are lost and you're very unsure of how to do this, go ahead and click my link down in the description where you can check out the Poop Scoop Millionaire. Within that community, there's over 800 of us pooper scoopers in there figuring this whole thing out, answering a lot of questions. There's a lot of courses built out over there as well to tell you step by step how to do your business. Their pricing structure is a little bit different than mine, but like I said, every company is different. Every market is different. There's no wrong way. There's no right way. But I take that back. If you're underpricing, that is wrong. I said what I said. And if you haven't checked Jobber out, if you don't have a CRM, go ahead and click my link down in the description to get your 14-day free trial. And to keep the fun going, to keep the education going, and to keep supporting the channel, please watch another one of my videos. And as always, I get my video topics from your guys' comments. So make sure to please leave comments down below so I can keep creating the content that you want to see.